Ladies and gentlemen, we have made it all the way to the final event, the 12th race of season 14 of the Dirty Old Bastards Countryside Stove and Chimney 410 Sprint Car Series, and we are live from the beautiful Charlotte Motor Speedway dirt track, where tonight we will crown a champion and multiple other places that are still up for grabs. Welcome to ESBN. My name is Mr. Ryan Williams. I'll be joined by Ben Bruno with Frank Marchese up in the control tower. And tonight is where it all comes down. You've got Rusty Kruger pretty much sealed up the points championship so far. Mike Keegan's pretty much locked in second, but Chris Roberts and Kyle Stoltz are in a heated battle for the third position in the point standings here tonight. Stoltz in the lobby, as is Chris Roberts. And then the rest of your top 10, Vinny Sansoni, Kevin Hanley, Steven Goldner, Jesse Bandy, Tyson Landis, Randy Shreves here coming into the final race of the season, which will put an end to the 14th season of the DOB Countryside Stove and Chimney 410 Sprint Car Series. Ben, I'll put you on the hot seat for the first time here tonight. We know that Kruger is going to be the champion, but there's still a very, very heated battle there for third place in the points between series owner Chris Roberts and fourth position Kyle Stoltz.
Yeah, absolutely. And those are, guys that we're talking about every week that they just put on an absolute show. They're fast week in and week out. And I wouldn't expect to see any less than that out of them here tonight in an action-packed Charlotte, the dirt track at Charlotte. I've had the pleasure of seeing this with my own two eyes at the World Finals 1 year, and I'll be there this year again. And it is quite the show to watch, and these guys will not disappoint, especially with that heated points battle for third.
It is, in fact, a show to watch here tonight. A lot of guys working in the bottom side of the racetrack currently. That top side will come in early and often, as we see at the dirt track at Charlotte in real life and on the simulation. But as we're seeing on the track right now, one of the big keys tonight will be to stay off of the Ute tires at the bottoms of both turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
Absolutely. And, there's definitely an element once it gets pushed up to the wall. It's like the backstretch wall kind of has like a little imperfection to it. And, like we always talk about, if that right rear finds the wall, it's like a magnet.
Oh, it 100% is here. At Charlotte, the wall isn't the most perfect thing in the world. But with these guys, their skill levels, I'm sure that most of them will hopefully be able to keep it off of the top side and in the racing groove here. But I mean, so far, interestingly enough, Jeffrey Stewart is your current fastest. Vinny Sansoni is up there in the points, but he sits at about fourth fastest in the race server so far. But your points champion, Rusty Kruger, I don't believe that he will be driving it as hard as he can tonight, as he's already got the thing locked up. He could run around in last place for all he cares, but Rusty Kruger might very well try to go out with a bang here tonight. Only time will tell on that end.
Absolutely. And, talking about guys that will be pushing it, we already talked about that heated points battle for third in the points overall. But Vinny Sansoni, obviously we talked about Stoltz, Chris Roberts, Aaron Schaefer, Darren Detweiler. It's going to be a good show.
Oh, 100% will be. We're going to head right into qualifying for the DOB Countryside Stove and Chimney 410 Sprint Car Series, presented by ABR Setup Shop and Design Metal Art here. Momentarily, these guys are going to get out quick, fast, in a hurry. Only 2 minutes to put down qualifying laps here. And just before we see some times, I want to make mention that tonight is a double header event. Both the DOB 410 Sprint Car Series and the Big Block Modified Series here from the dirt track at Charlotte for their season finales. And Contrary to this series here, a much, much tighter points battle at the top between Kevin Hanley and Mike Keegan over in the big block modifieds.
And that's going to be an absolute thriller. Those guys are going to be duking it out hard as our first qualifying time starting to trickle in. Zane Scott right now on top with a 12.6, topped by Rusty Kruger with a 12.610. Now Heilman is lots of times coming in.
Well, Michael Heilman, a pretty good driver in his own right. Zane Scott as well. As Scott goes right back to the top of the board. Kruger comes in third quick right now. Sansone is up there. Ooh, Richie Preston, the first one to hit the 12.5 bracket. Actually comes in 12.558. Which was interesting because Kruger was a lot faster than him in was actually a little slower than him in practice, and it still shows right now. Zane Scott was faster than Richie Preston in practice, however, and he's still slower than Preston here. So Richie Preston might just have something figured out as he goes top position right now. Zane Scott second, Michael Heilman third, Rusty Kruger fourth. Vinny Sansone rounds out your top five.
And the groupings are tight. You know, if I'm not mistaken, it's from about second to 10th, all 12.6s, and not by a whole lot of difference. And then just a handful of guys running 12.7s and two at 12.8. So going to be really tight as we're getting ready to go for heat race number one.
That's exactly right here. Looks like we will have 3 heat races on the night, 6 cars apiece for each heat race, giving us a grand total of 18 cars signed in here tonight. Heat race number one is starting to form down on the racing surface. Richie Preston will lead us off from the pole with his lightning quick qualifying time. Rusty Kruger will roll off second. Ryan Scheidt will roll off third. Kevin Hanley, Kyle Stoltz, Curtis Merriman rounding out that field there.
And it'll be interesting to see. You know, you kind of talked about it. Eventually the track's going to move up, but right now there's a lot of marbles and a lot of life still in the track. So what's going to be your key to trying to get up front here, Ryan?
Oh, heck, I don't know. I'm a late model driver. I don't mess with these sprint car things, but I will tell you that these guys are going to be cleaning off the marbles this entire first heat race. Clean off those marbles, push them to the top side of the track, and start to build the cushion. And that's when you'll see some guys going and testing right up against the wall here. But I'm looking for the likes of Preston, Kruger, Scheidt, however you say his last name, those 3 guys to put on an absolute blast of a show here in heat race number one as we come around to take the one to go with the iRacing pace truck at the helm of the field.
Not going to be easy for him to get the job done either, with Rusty starting outside. And I mean, you got Hanley, he's always fast in the 110 car, Kyle Stoltz. So it's not going to be easy to race your way in, as the past couple weeks we saw guys not really having to race their way in.
So really quickly, your battle for third and point is Kyle Stoltz starts 5th in this heat race. Chris Roberts 5th in heat race number 3, so they're pretty much on an even playing field right now. Green flag will fly for heat race number 1, however. Preston out to an early advantage here over Kruger, who is fighting hard with Scheidt alongside.
And all smooth sailing through the rest of the field right now. A little bit of room between everybody for the time being. How long will it last is the real question, as these guys not going to be content to just ride around where they're at.
Oh, 100% not, as you see Scheidt start to lose the 5 machine of Rusty Kruger just a tad bit, falling towards the clutches of Kevin Hanley, but not quite in him just yet. Hanley going to work up right in behind him, going to drive it a little too hard there in turns 3 and 4, come down the front straight away here at the dirt track at Charlotte. He's still trying that inside line as we come down the back straight away into turns 3 and 4, but Hanley not able to make any kind of run on Scheidt. They're trying to take away the 3rd position.
And that's certainly the battle to watch right now. But Rusty Kruger trying a little bit lower than Preston is running on the track right now. See if he can get something figured out as these two guys behind him battling are starting to close in.
Slide job after slide job there for position number 3 between Scheit and Hanley. Hanley returns fire, this time into the corner. Scheit gonna tag along the bottom, around into lap number 7 here. Scheit stays high on the racetrack as Hanley ran a little bit of a blocker line there. Scheit gonna continue to run the high line, trying to get some momentum here as we come into the white flag this time by. He's got to run down the front straightaway.
Just one more turn for Richie Preston as he makes his way out of turn 4. He's going to take the checkered flag for heat race number 1 for the Dirty Old Bastards 410 sprint cars.
Well, that was Preston taking it easily with Kruger, Hanley, Scheit, Merriman, and Stoltz in tow. So a bad showing for Kyle Stoltz so far, as he needs to rebound here if he wants to contain the 3rd place in points and take it away from Chris Roberts as the night goes on here. But heat race number 2 is currently lining up on the grid with Zane Scott on the pole. Vinny Sansone rounds out your front row on the outside. Row number 2 finds Jeffrey Stewart and Mike Keegan. Row number 3, Jake Greenwood and Aaron Schaefer round out your field.
And a studded field at that, as you mentioned, those guys. A lot of hitters in this field. Greenwood, one of the only guys that has really been able to throw his hat in the ring on some nights with some of these quicker guys in this field.
Well, Greenwood, obviously a driver who we've seen win a race this year, I do believe. Greenwood's had 1 win on the year. Vinny Sansone's been awfully close multiple times. Mike Keegan has been close to a couple of wins as well. So a lot of nice names series-wise in heat race number 2 here. But the one that I'm going to watch is that 37 of Zane Scott making an appearance here with the DOB 410 Sprint Car Series. And he is looking to wreck house and ruin Rusty Kruger's championship night. Like Aaron Schaefer had a little bit of a problem here. We're going to go green out of turn number 4. He's back, caught up to the field here. Must have had some trouble trying to admin the race and race it at the same time. But as we say that, the green flag flies for Zane Scott, who's having a little bit of connection difficulties here as he heads into turn number 1. He's got a nice battle brewing behind him here. The 72 machine of Stewart, the 80 of Sansone are giving each other heck as they go out around the front straightaway here to complete lap number 1.
And a little bit of contact in the back of the field. Didn't quite catch who it was. Looks like Greenwood and Aaron Schaefer making a little bit of contact. That's going to drop them back as Keegan in the 72 of Stewart still shuffling it up. See if he can get a good run, get back up on Sansone.
That's exactly right here. Sansone has his eye set on other matters. However, as he continues to try and track down your leader up there, Zane Scott, the number 37. Sansone's on his horse right now. He's making the gap bridge a little bit as it was down to 0.4 seconds last time by. A little bit lower here at 0.425. So Sansone a long way, still a decently long way to go, a short time to get there as we head into lap number 6 of 8. And that gap stretches out just a little bit here for Scott over Sansone. Still a big battle for 3rd as Stewart and Keegan continue to throw haymakers back. And oh, contact there. 72 into the U-tire. Up and over he goes. Yellow flag is out here on lap number 7.
And just a really big run there for Mike Keegan as he's crossing over from the top to the bottom. Just makes a little bit of contact there with the back. And that's all she wrote. Catch the Ute tire and over she goes.
When I say they were throwing haymakers, I wasn't talking about like that, but you saw exactly what happened there, ladies and gentlemen. As was shown on the ESBN replay, Mike Keegan just comes down the track just a teeny tiny bit. Catches the back half of Stewart. Stewart off, up and over, and into the Ute tires. And unfortunately, being that he took blame for the caution, Mike Keegan is being put to the rear of the field, and that breathes new life into the race here for the 43 of Jake Greenwood.
Mike Keegan he was on to something there. He really reeled in those last two turns. He was kind of, diamonding the turn off from the top, coming off the bottom, and had a ton of speed doing it. So going to be really interesting with this green-white checkered coming up.
That it will here, and that gives another opportunity to Vinny Sansone up there in the second position, one of the fastest cars on the track. Oftentimes a little bit quicker than your leader, Zane Scott, but we have a single file restart here, which will put Sansone at a little bit of a disadvantage, only with 2 laps remaining when we go back green flag racing. But ladies and gentlemen, look for that number 80 car to get up on that wheel, throw a slide job, a jab or two in there, as Scott looks for his mark here. Scott chooses when he wants to fire. Does it let the rest of the crowd know he goes before everybody else. Has a nice little hole shot as we head into turn number 1. Green flag is in the air there. Big 3-wide battle here at the back of the pack as they head down into turns number 3. Sansone, no kind of run here as we come into the white flag.
And everybody going to be able to hold on for the time being. Aaron Schaefer now taking a look at Greenwood, not able to get there. As Zane Scott going to take the checkered flag in heat race number 2 in an interesting late race caution, able to hold on.
That's exactly right there. Scott was able to defeat Sansone, Greenwood, Schaefer, Keegan, Stewart in that order. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we get into probably the next most crucial heat race here when it comes to the points standings right now. Chris Roberts currently sits in third. He is 1 position, 2 points ahead of Kyle Stoltz, who finished 6th in his heat race earlier. If Chris Roberts is able to have a good heat race and pick up a position or 2 here, he will put himself in a mighty, mighty fine position going into the feature event later on tonight. But sitting on pole of this heat race will be Michael Heileman, Darren Detweiler 2nd, Ernie Williams Jr. 3rd, Adam Buchanan 4th. As we said, Chris Roberts 5th, Billy Rowley 6th.
And like you said, I mean, it's going to be really important for Chris Roberts here. He can get that good finish here, start up front with Kyle having to start deeper in the field. It's going to give him the better starting point to get the job done and take away that 3rd place spot in the final point standings, man.
Well, even though everybody involved in this league, involved with us, anything, everybody involved loves Chris Roberts for what he does, but I can guarantee you that Chris has one major enemy cheering for his downfall right now. That man's name is Kyle Stoltz. Kyle's hoping for the absolute worst for Chris in terms of point standings, but obviously not in real life. But we're going to go green here off of Forest David. Michael Heileman firing first. He heads into turn number 1 with a gaggle of cars in tow.
And Ernie Williams Jr. trying to take advantage of a good start to this race, working a groove lower than Darren Detweiler. A little bit of contact, and Detweiler into turn 1 wall, able to regather, so we're not going to see anything more of it. But bad luck for Darren Detweiler.
Bad juju there for Detweiler, puts him all the way back into about the 6th position here. Roberts up to 4th and battling with the 44 of Adam Buchanan. Buchanan about 7 car lengths off of Ernie Williams Jr., who's currently solidly in 2nd. But watch Chris Roberts down there. We have a high side tickler in racing, but I kind of want to call Chris Roberts the low side tickler of sim racing, because I have never seen him venture up to the high side. And there he goes here. Uses a little crossover to go right back down to the bottom where Chris Roberts wants to be. As we head into lap number 6 here of 8, Roberts currently in 4th, wants to stay there and not allow that number 79 machine of Billy Rowley around him.
And as you say that, Rowley getting into the wall a little bit, able to gather it up well and not lose a whole lot of time on Roberts, as these guys are absolutely going at it. for that fourth spot.
We rolling hard into the wall there. Caution flag, caution. Rolly absolutely lost it and planted himself into the wall. And good luck, record truck, pulling him out of there.
Just a
absolutely pummeled by an old Double D Darren Detweiler as well.
Find the wall. It's like a magnet, man.
Oh, it 100% is, and you're going to see that magnet in the wall a little bit later, I'm sure, when the big block modifieds hit the dirt track at Charlotte, but they're a tough break for Rolly as they'll have to back her down, bring her in, and hopefully get back down off of the wall and able to race a little bit later on tonight.
And before the caution, Michael Heilman just about out to a half a second lead. And Ernie Williams Jr. and Adam Buchanan were starting to get a little bit of a battle going there that opened the door for Chris Roberts to come up as he was starting to put the work in on Buchanan after Rowley got in the wall there.
That is exactly right. I was noticing it as well. Roberts has a mighty fast racing machine here tonight. He's going to work on Buchanan here for this green-white checkered. It is single file here as Heileman's going to have a good jump. That 91 machine of Williams times it rather nicely, however, as he's got 2 laps to try and do a little dance here if he wants to take up a heat race number 3 victory. So they head off into 3 and 4 for the penultimate times. Roberts, big slide job into turn number 4 here. 44 Buchanan goes down the track, comes in contact with the Double D of Darren Detweiler. Oh, Roberts gets walloped by the 3D of Detweiler, and he falls all the way back into the 6th position. Slide jobs him out of turn number 4. He comes across the line in 4th, continues in 4th. So Heileman wins, Williams 2nd, Buchanan 3rd, Chris Roberts 4th, Darren Detweiler 5th, and a wild finish there for the 3rd, 4th, and 5th positions.
In tough break for Chris Roberts, but still going to be in okay position, finishing a little bit better than what Kyle was able to do in his heat race, but obviously was in a really good battle there for the 3rd spot, trying to get on the podium, and he was oh so close.
So they are currently going over their redraw here. Believe Preston drew the poles and Scott drew 3rd. Rusty Kruger drew 6th. Benny Sansone's drawing now. He will roll off 4th, and Ernie Williams will go off 2nd. So that meant that Michael Heileman drew that other position, and we will see them all roll out on track here momentarily, ladies and gentlemen, for the final dash of season 14 for the Dirty Old Bastards 410 Sprint Car Series, presented by Countryside Stove and Chimney of Central New York.
And it's going to be a good one. As we saw in heat race number 3, the track starting to get really racy now. Not a whole lot of rubber down, just a little bit coming in, but those marbles getting pushed up to the wall is really opening up a couple different lanes of racing at this point.
Well, that it has is the rubber's going to be locked down on the bottom, which means that you're going to see, hopefully by the end of this 30-lap feature, 2-3 lines of racing here. Green flag on the dash here as the 25 machine of Preston is all out front. 91, 37 there with him as well. 37 challenging early here for the race lead.
And Ernie Williams Jr. beating down the fence. Going to take a look to the inside of the 37 this time. Nearly 3 wide as they come into the backstretch. Still going to be patient, pick away at the wall as he's making contact.
Big contact there for Williams as he has to let all the way out of it. Kruger up into the wall as well. So Rusty Kruger not quite having the best night so far here, but he gets right around the 911 of Michael Heileman there. Again, not sure if Michael's any relation to old David A. Heileman that we've been seeing in the iRacing servers for a heck of a long time, but up front, still a battle between the 25 and the number 37, Zane Scott, Richie Preston. 2 laps to go here. They are throwing haymakers back and forth at each other.
Slider after slider after slider is the 37 again going to take a look to the bottom with another big slider coming out of turn 4. Give it back to the 37.
The white flag that time by. It's the 37, the 25. It's going to be neck and neck at the line here. See who they're going to give it to. It's a drag race. It's the 37 of Zane Scott taking it over Richie Preston there. So that does it for the 6-man dash here. And they're going to go into a little bit of a warm-up, trying to get this track nice and worked in, nice into multiple groove before we go green for your final 35 lap feature of the season for the DOB 410 Sprint Car Series, presented by Countryside Stove and Chimney of Central New York, Alex Bergeron Setup Shop, Design Metal Art, and Bud Kicker.
And what a dash that was. You know, if you haven't been with us all season long, this is what we've come accustomed to, this kind of racing, this caliber of racing. If you haven't, go back and check out some of the previous races. You can find us on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. Go to those pages, like the pages, follow the pages, hit the notifications bell, and never miss a minute of it, whether it be the Dirty Old Bastards 410 Sprint Car Series or the Big Block Modifieds or any of our other broadcasts. Every night there's a great show at ESBN.
That it 100% is. We've still got a couple more broadcasts on the week here. I know tomorrow we go live with the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series from, I believe it's the Daytona International Speedway. I'm not exactly sure who's going to be on the call for it right now, but I have a sneaky feeling that it's going to be Mr. Sam Cooper Bennett and Mr. Byron Rodney on the call for that one. Then once we have another series or another event with the major series, Majors American Sportsman Series, the 2.4 hours at the Nürburgring. So I will have nothing to do with that broadcast. So, Mr. Frank Marchese, I know you're broadcasting with us or broadcasting for us tonight. Just go ahead and know that I will not be calling a race at the Nürburgring because I will lose my ever-loving mind. But before we get into all of that, we've still got plenty of racing here to do tonight. We've got a few more minutes here of the warm-up session for the 410 Sprint Car Series. They'll get into a 35-lap feature event here. Again, if you're seeing on your screen that it says 36 laps, it is not a 36-lap feature. They take 1 lap to clear all black flags from realigning after the dash and to get realigned, and then they go green the next time by. And of course tonight it is Mr. Zane Scott on the pole for the race with Richie Preston, going to be hit to his outside. I believe we then had, was it Ernie Williams? I believe Vinny Sansone was in there as well. Yeah, Vinny Sansone, Rusty Kruger, Michael Heileman were your 6 cars that finished in that order in the dash. So they're going to throw the white flag on the warm-up here, and momentarily, ladies and gentlemen, for the final time, we're going to bring you the baddest 410 sprint cars in all of iRacing at the dirt track at Charlotte.
And it's going to be a really good show, a way different surface than what we left off with in the dash and through the heat races, obviously, as well. But going to be a really good race. Something really impressive sticking out to me right now. Zane Scott in the warm-up, whether it had been in the dash race or during the warm-up, turned a 12.9. The next closest being Richie Preston at a 13.2. So he has got quite some speed in that setup tonight.
He absolutely has here, Zane Scott. It's awfully quick here. That was a faster time than he turned. That was just about the same time, excuse me, that he turned in qualifying earlier. Looks like Rusty Kruger will take a bit of a challenge here tonight and start from the back of the pack and see how far up he can get by the end of this 35 laps, as he's just out for his Sunday stroll, claiming championship gold here tonight from the dirt track at Charlotte. Again, Zane Scott will line up on the pole as we bring you your starting lineup for the night. Again, Zane Scott on the pole, Richie Preston to his outside. Vinny Sansone starts third with the 91 machine of Ernie Williams on his outside, row number 2. Row number 3, the 911 of Michael Heileman, alongside of, I believe it will be, the 43 of Jake Greenwood moving up. And then we will go 7th position, Kevin Hanley. 8th position, Adam Buchanan. Actually, it'll be Ryan Steit moving up, with Adam Buchanan on the next row, alongside Aaron Schaefer, Chris Roberts, Curtis Merriman, Mike Keegan, Darren Detweiler, Kyle Stoltz, Jeffrey Stewart, Billy Rowley, Kevin Click rolling off at the back with Rusty Kruger, who dropped to the back to have a little bit of a challenge here tonight. And ladies and gentlemen, before we go green, make sure that you remember to watch this battle for the 3rd place in points, as you've got Roberts rolling off 12th, Stoltz rolling off 16th.
As we're going to take one more lap around the track here before these guys get us fired up for the finale of the season, and it's going to be a fun one. If you haven't already, grab your beer, grab your popcorn, grab your woman, get nuzzled up, and it's going to be a show and a doubleheader coming up right now.
That they are. Just don't shake the babies. Grab all that stuff. Sit down on the couch, go crazy if you want, but don't shake the baby, because we are going green here from Charlotte. The DOB 410 Sprint Car Series is underway for the final time for season number 14 here, and we're off to a hot start with Sansone challenging for second into turn number 3. You got the 25 machine of Preston, or the 125 of Preston up on the top side, 3 wide, all the way back behind him here.
And they are all kinds of stacked up. Adam Buchanan, Jake Greenwood, Kyle Stoltz, Chris Roberts, those two under a blanket already in contact. Gonna collect a couple cars, but everybody looks like they're gonna continue on. More contact with Greenwood in the front stretch as action everywhere.
Well, they made it through that. I will never, ever know, but all of these drivers able to keep it going. Oh, 44 gets sideways. Contact with the 91. He might very well go around here.
Zane Scott, all smooth sailing right now. The 25 of Richie Preston starting to get ever so close, as Vinny Sansone looks like he'll be patient for the time being, but for how long? Hanley right on his bumper, and the caution is out.
Finally, a caution flag after all of that damage that we saw early on in the race. See if we can find out who the culprit was here. Looks like Jeffrey Stewart went down there and had a face-to-face meeting with one of those U tires in the turn and gets knocked all the way around back on to all 4 wheels coming out of turn number 2 there for Stewart. So looks like he'll be able to keep going as he'll pull up to the tail end of the lead lap of race cars. Made it through 5 laps there. We were on lap number 6 when all heck broke loose for the 72 of Stewart, but right now we're seeing an awfully tight battle forming for the race lead between Scott and Preston.
And like I mentioned, Chris Roberts and Kyle Stoltz were duking it out there. Didn't quite see if Kyle got tied up in that those couple of melees that we saw, but has fallen back now to 14th, so that's going to be good for Chris Roberts, as a lot of big movers already. Rusty Kruger took the EOL to start the race. He's up to 11th.
Well, Stoltz is up from 16th to 14th, so right now making a couple of spots, but still not able to find any way around anybody, really. A person that all of that melee really impacted was Adam Buchanan in the 44, as he fell from the 9th position all the way back to 15th at one point and then back up to 13th. So Buchanan, a big loser out of all of that. Looks like we are currently lining back up to go green flag racing here. Zane Scott out front of Richie Preston here on lap number 6, coming back to the green. Green flag flies from the dirt track at Charlotte. Amazing jump there for Zane Scott.
And Richie Preston tried to time him up, got a little bit behind the 8 ball there. This thing's going to start to get interesting behind him between a couple of different cars back here in the form of Chris Roberts, Vinny Sansoni, Kevin Hanley, as Ernie Williams Jr. going to work on the top side.
The bottom feeder down there, Mr. Chris Roberts, moving up into, now I believe scored in the 5th position there for driver number 93. Roberts now working on Preston. Ooh, Curtis Merriman, a hard lick there in the number 71 machine. Let's see exactly what happened here for Merriman. Ooh, Merriman, Detweiler, the 79 machine of Rowley all involved there as they merge into a 3-car Bamalam and going into turn number 2 or turn number 3, I do believe it was. No, that was turn number 1. Going into turn number 1, Merriman, Rowley, Detweiler all get together, and chaos ensues there as we are working into caution number 2 here, 9 laps down of 35.
And Rusty Kruger now inside of the top 10, scored 8th currently, just behind Ernie Williams Jr. There's a lot of fast cars inside the top 10 right now. Kyle Stoltz up to 10th out of that last melee, so closing back in on that gap between him and Chris Roberts.
That is exactly right here, but I mean, either way, as long as Roberts finishes at least, heck, he could finish one position behind Stoltz and he'd still maintain 3rd position. But if something bad happens to Roberts here, Stoltz capitalizes, gets a good finish, there is a possibility that he takes that 3rd position away, but right now not really looking likely, as Chris Roberts is up in the 5th position here. Richie Preston's fallen back to 3rd, Sansoni up to 2nd, Zane Scott a commanding lead at the top, as we are going to go back green flag racing here at the Charlotte logo in turns 3 and 4. Scott fires. Here we go once again into lap number 10.
And another good jump for Zane Scott. Vinny Sansoni's been true to the bottom over these last couple laps, as we have a couple of cars that have gotten turned around on the start. It's Adam Buchanan and Michael Heilman way at the back of the field getting into some contact.
Ooh, Sansoni gets a little loose there in turn number 2. Bumps up the 125 of Preston. Preston moves back just a little bit. He's now alongside the bottom feeding bandit there. That 93 of Chris Roberts. 3 wide there. Ooh, 110. Hanley gets a little bit loose on the bottom as well. Loses track position to Zane Scott. And now the 80 machine of Sansoni. He's pressuring the top side here, as we are seeing 2 definitive lines, top and bottom, from the dirt track at Charlotte.
And Kevin Hanley absolutely shot out of a cannon on the bottom, using that moisture to his advantage as they're 3 wide coming into the front stretch. It's going to be Hanley, Sansoni battling on the top. The 25 car keeps continuing to get in there. Chris Roberts in the 25 now doing battle, as these guys, there's 5 guys under a blanket for that 2nd spot right now, Ryan.
Like Adam Buchanan pulled off the track there in the number 44. You got 5 cars under a blanket, as you said, but don't lose sight of your leader, Zane Scott, out in front of everybody by about 6 seconds at this point. Half a straightaway. It says it seems like 6 seconds. It's only 1.6 seconds here at the dirt track at Charlotte. He's got an entire straightaway on everybody else, and he is fighting to put, I believe that would be either Curtis Merriman or David Heileman, or Michael Heileman a lap down. It is Michael Heileman about to go a lap down to the 37 of Zane Scott. Sansoni and the gang, though, don't count them out. They are starting to chip away at the lead currently.
And Rusty Kruger has just been absolutely beating down the wall, doing everything but eating it, as he's caught the wall a couple times, but really making the top work. He's committed to it, as he's able to clear Hanley in the 25 of Richie Preston.
That's exactly right. You'll ask yourselves, where in the world did that 5 machine come from? He came from the back, and he's making his way towards the front. He's up into third currently. Either way, we're going to interview him after this race. So, I mean, he's just making our jobs a little bit easier here. Chris Roberts now battling with the 125 of Preston, who's currently in the 5th position here. Roberts in 6th. Hanley up there, a good run for him as well, as you'll see him a little bit later on tonight battling for a points championship in the Big Block Modified Series. Ooh, 125 hard into the wall. It's going to open the door a lot there for the 93 machine of Roberts, but the 125 is able to hold down that position for now. As you look in front, Kruger is running down Sansone like ain't nobody's business right now.
And they're both starting to reel in on Zane Scott a little bit more now. Off that lap, they lost another 1/10 of a second, but was up to 1.6. They were down to 1.3. Rusty Kruger trying to take a look at the bottom side of Sansone. Can't get the job done. Couldn't make it stick. Too much momentum for Sansone on the top side.
We've lost a couple of drivers due to DNF from the crashes already, but still a lot of guys are left in this event. I believe we have about 12 cars on track right now, and you've got that big battle there for the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th positions here. Hanley, Roberts, Preston. Stewart is not for position. He's just falling further and further back. He is multiple laps down here, but you look there, Roberts still bottom feeding on the bottom side of the racetrack. He's the bottom feed bandit for a reason. He always pulls out decent runs. Pulls out decent runs on the bottom side of the track all of the time. Hanley up there with a good run as well. Then Richie Preston currently scored in the 5th position as he continuously gets back around Roberts, but this time is going to lose position here to Chris Roberts. We go into lap number 28.
And the gap between Kyle Stoltz and Chris Roberts has shrunk significantly. Obviously, like you said, Stoltz is going to have to make his way by Roberts, which is probably going to require quite a mistake or an incident.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Battle for second here. Slide job after slide job. Kruger threw one last time. Sansone setting up for one here as we go into turn number 1. Slide job up from Sansone. Kruger back to the bottom here down the back straightaway. Going to itch it up. Let her loose into turn number 3. Sansone again back to the bottom side. This is doing wonders for the guys behind them as they continue to fight back and forth. And it's also doing wonders for your leader, Zane Scott, who's 4 seconds ahead of this battle here. As Kruger gets a disadvantage there, hitting the outside wall. Now catches a run inside of Sansone. Not going to try it this time as he's going to stay on the top side of the racetrack. But here comes Chris Roberts, who's moved up into the 4th position.
Yeah, and what a battle between these two, putting on an absolute show. Zane Scott has found a different gear in that race car as he's out to 4.5 seconds lead over Sansone, as him and Kruger still trading slider for slider back and forth. Sansone gonna try to make it stick off the bottom. A drag race to the flag stand.
Drag race to the flag stand with 3 laps to go here. You're gonna have 34, 35, and 36 in this lobby will be your final 3 laps. Coming into lap number 35, popsicle sticks in the air here as Kruger takes a definitive advantage for the 2nd place battle here. As here comes the man, Chris Roberts in the 93. He's now working down the backside of the 80 of Sansone. Roberts back down to the bottom here as we come to the white flag. We got a battle for 3rd.
Chris Roberts able to get clear Sansone. He's out in front right now as Rusty Kruger and Zane Scott able to take the checkered flag here for the feature event.
Well, like he said, it was Scott about 4.5 seconds in front of everybody else. Scott came across first. Rusty Kruger comes home 2nd. Chris Roberts comes home 3rd. Great run for Chris there. Vinny Sansone loses it out at the very, very end. He comes home 4th, just outside of the podium. Kevin Hanley 5th. Richie Preston 6th. Ryan Scheit in 7th. 8th went to Stoltz. 9th went to Greenwood. 10th went to Aaron Schaefer. In the cars that were off the lead lap, Jeffrey Stewart, Billy Rowley, Michael Heileman, Ernie Williams, Adam Buchanan, Darren Detweiler, Curtis Merriman, Mike Keegan, and Kevin Click rounded out your field of 19 drivers that took the green flag. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we just wait for your top three to head down with us trackside here. And I believe first we'll try and get to your points championship winner, Mr. Rusty Kruger, if he'll hop in here anytime soon. But as we play the waiting game, we want to remind you guys to go check out our sponsors here at ESBN. The likes of Rocket Racing Setups, a fine sponsor that we've had for multiple, well, at least a year now. Rocket Racing Setups make some of the best iRacing setups that you will find, whether it be on Facebook or at their website at rocketracingsetups.com. And speak of the devil, the man himself, your 2021 Season 14 points champion, Mr. Rusty Kruger. Rusty, it's been a long, hard road for you. You came into the year not exactly sure what you were going to do, came in, won a couple races, and all of a sudden, you find yourself here talking to us at Charlotte 14 weeks later.
Yeah, it's a pretty good feeling to come here at the end of the season, have another second place finish. I think I have more seconds than wins this year. You guys might have to double check that, but it's a great race. With the title locked up, I wanted to have a little bit of fun. But Charlotte's probably my strongest track for some weird reason. I just know how to get around here, and we were able to take the back row challenge all the way up to second. Me and Vinny had a hell of a battle there. It seemed like forever, and then once I cleared him, unfortunately Zane was just gone. He was on another level.
Oh yeah, I mean, you and Vinny there put on a show for about 5 laps, but tell me about the start of the race there. From about lap 3 to maybe 6, we saw just melee after melee towards the back. How close were you to getting involved in that, and how were you able to get through it?
I think I saw my virtual life flash before my eyes there a couple times. I forget who it was, but it felt like rush hour there on I-80, just trying to avoid all the carnage and pick the openings in the racetrack, and hopefully we came out unscathed.
Well, you absolutely did there. Took the back row challenge, made it all the way up to second. I mean, a few bragging rights over Chris, because Chris finished in right behind you. But, I mean, you come in this year, you realize that you're one of the top drivers in the scene as far as DOB is concerned. And what's next for you as a sim racer?
Hopefully build the momentum on this championship and a couple other ones I've been able to hang up, and hopefully Chris has some nice surprise waiting for me here in the next couple weeks. I could hang on my mantle and might be moving in with my girlfriend soon, so she might have a couple new decorations at the house.
That's exactly right. Just pro tip: don't let her make you sell the rig. Just keep all your iRacing stuff. That has nothing to do with her. That's
absolutely not. She's a fan.
Oh heck yeah, that's awesome to hear, Rusty. And really quickly, you've got a huge point championship to go celebrate tonight, but before we let you go, tell us who got you there this year.
I gotta thank the boys over at Speed Lab and Slick. They build me the most comfortable setups I can try and run, and they're out doing spring fling right now, so huge shout out to them. Hopefully they did pretty well. And also Jake Swanson Shock Technology for the virtual CSIs, Viromoto, Fast Four Media, Durio Bassers for this fine program he puts on every week, Esports Broadcasting for making it so people can watch my greatness.
You're great, Noel. You certainly proved your greatness with the runs that you've had all season. Double checking, you ran 11 races total with the series, 5 wins, 11 top 5. So that was a pretty successful year for you.
Would have been 12 if my VR didn't go black at the Grove, but that's okay.
Well, it's all good in the long run here. You take home a points championship. Rusty, from all of us here at ESBN, it's been a pleasure watching you all season. Once again, congratulations.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And that was Mr. Rusty Kruger. Before we get to your third place finisher, Chris Roberts, we're going to have a word with your winner here tonight, Mr. Zane Scott. Zane, you come in here not running too much with DOB this year and absolutely put the smackdown on him after you get around, I believe it was Preston there early. From then on, pretty much smooth sailing for you.
Yeah, I think it's like the first race that I've run this season for the 410. So to come out and do as good as we did, I want to say that I'm surprised, but at the same time, I'm going to be a little arrogant and cocky and say I'm not surprised because it's Charlotte. And if there's one track that I feel like I've gotten down pretty well on the sim, it's definitely Charlotte. I think like out of the 10 DOB wins that I have, 7 of them or whatever at Charlotte. So to come and add another one to that totals, it's nice, but well, it's whatever. We'll take it.
Well, it certainly was a tremendous showing by you tonight, and you seem to have had something else figured out that a lot of these guys didn't. I mean, you were the only driver in the warm-up session with the track in the state that it was to cut anywhere under a 13-second lap time. And how much practice do you get at the dirt track at Charlotte? How much experience do you have at this track, and how much of a factor did that play in how you drove here tonight?
Well, I think the practice that I have doesn't factor in at all because it all goes back to really pre 2019 when the track came out. I just ran it every day. To be honest, this is only my second 410 sprint race since the Pro Series ended back in January. The first one was this week at Bristol, so really I haven't run any 410s in about 2 months. So there really isn't any practice involved. It's just knowing what to do.
Well, whatever it was, it certainly worked for you here tonight, and you were leaps and bounds above everybody else. Going on from here as the DOB series comes to an end, I know there's still plenty of other series running. Where does your sim racing career go from this moment?
I don't know if I would call it a career, but I don't know. I'll probably go MIA again for another 2 months and finally get around to the computer again and go do it. So real life is it's a thing. There's a life outside of the sim, and I've neglected that for the past probably year or so, really since the pro workup started. So getting out and doing more things in the real world, going to go ride some bulls coming up here soon and stuff like that. So sim wise, I don't think it goes any further than just casually running a couple leagues when I feel like it.
Oh, it certainly sounds like you've got your plate full, but before we let you go here tonight and celebrate a big win, is there anybody that you want to thank for helping you in sim racing?
Well, for everyone in sim racing in general, I mean, there's a lengthy list. Really, everyone that I've ever thanked in any of the Victory Lane interviews up until this one. But for this race, I don't really have anyone. Me, myself, and I just get bored, run a couple races, and I don't have a team anymore. I'm independent, and we're doing everything on our own. So just myself, and of course, you guys and DOB for putting this on.
Sometimes that's all there is to it. Zane, you came out here, you dominated once again from all of us. Congratulations on a big win here tonight.
Thank you.
And then your third place, man, it warms my heart to see it. Joining us in the booth now, I'm calling him for the rest of time, the bottom-feeding bandit, Mr. Chris Roberts in the 93. Chris, you found yourself on a podium here tonight, man. How are you feeling?
At a freaking podium, man. I can't remember the last time I've done that in the 410s, and you're close with the nickname. It is. I've picked up the nickname Catfish for exactly the reason why you saw it.
Well, I like that even more. Dude, man, the whole year just come culminating into this. You lock up third place on the points. You finish out another spectacular season on the 410 side, and now your attention turns to putting together a big run with the big block modifieds.
Oh yeah, that's. I think I ended up fourth. Hanley had one more race to do. He hadn't hit the 10 races that count yet. So with him showing up tonight, I believe that gave him third. But that was fun. That's I got to thank Cam when we were at Cedar Lake. He helped me out when we went there the first time this season, and just for the heck of it, because I remembered last season I struggled here in the 410s, which 360s, 305s. I got this place down pat. 410s for some reason I don't, and I threw that Cedar Lake set in. All I did was played with the wing and fuel all night long, and that thing was quick. I think I had a shot at Zane. It just took too long to get by a couple guys.
Zane had himself pretty far out in front, but you were right there with Rusty at the end. And an epic battle between him and Sansone there with about 10 to go. That sets you up perfectly to make the move that you did at the very end of the race.
Oh yeah, they had a great battle. I had one with Hanley and Richie, and I think Richie got out of shape and it screwed Hanley up, and I was able to drive by both those and then set my sights on Rusty and Vinny. And if it would have been a 40 lap race, I probably would have got Rusty. But got to say congrats to Rusty on the championship. Winning races always helps, but he was really consistent and always up front, and that's the big key.
All right. Well, Chris, you've got another race to go set up before we let you go real quick. Shout out those sponsors. Who you want to thank tonight?
I think, all my guys that helped me do this, we've been doing it for over 4 years now. So thanks to the guys that I have brought in to help me. I don't ask much out of them, but they are great to bounce ideas off of, and just if there's a issue or something, get a different opinion to it. So that helps. So thanks to those guys. Thanks to you guys for coming on board, broadcasting the 410s, and then picking up the big blocks halfway through the season. Hopefully we can work something out again in the future. It's been great. Thanks to Countryside Stove and Chimney for making this all possible with the 410s. So thanks for their support. And they've supported us before with some other stuff, and hopefully we can work together again in the future. It's been fun. Got to thank our Wednesday night guys, the Merced Speedway, California IMCA Speed Weeks, which I believe the California Speed Week kicks off this weekend. So if you're out in California or if you got Flow, tune into it, watch it. I'm sure they'll have some good stuff going on. And then we got some associate stuff with ABR Setup Shop. They provided setups to all the guys. The first driver not to transfer into the A main for the 360 series and the 410 series. It's helped some. Unfortunately, the 410s, I think we only had one race where we actually had a B main. But thanks for their support all season long. I know their stuff's definitely helped me in the 360s. Got Design Metal Art, associate sponsor. They do some great stuff. That's where all the trophy awards are going to come from. So Rusty's going to get a nice beer glass with engraving and all that on it. So not only could he set it on the mantle, he'll be able to use it and sip that bubbly out of it that he's going to be celebrating with later tonight. And the butt kicker as well, they're associate for both of those. If you mention us or use our link for butt kicker, it helps out the league there, and just everybody who constantly supports us. I know the car counts were up and down this season, but thanks to all those that always come out and support. Been some great racing all season long. Championship week here, we're 5 races down. 3 of them went green to checkered. We got one more, so maybe 50 laps here at Charlotte with the big blocks can go green to checkered. But thanks everybody for support.
That is exactly right here, Chris. Congratulations on your 3rd place finish here with the 410 Sprint Car Series. Get out of here, put up that server, and let's go racing once again from Charlotte with the Big Block Modifieds.
Everybody, see y'all in a little bit.
Yes, sir. Now, ladies and gentlemen, while we wait on the server to pop up and populate, I believe we're going to jump. A bing, bang, bop, and just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we are right back at you in server number 2 here for the DOB series on the night with the big block modifieds, this time from the dirt track at Charlotte for their season finale race. 50 laps will be the distance on this one tonight, and we come in with an interesting points battle up top. It's Kevin Hanley and Mike Keegan separated by only 10 points.
And those two are going to absolutely battle it out here tonight, as they always do. But a lot of quick guys, a lot of these series regulars that we talk about with Jeremy Prey, Brock Garris, these guys not going to make it easy for those two.
100% not here as we're seeing the lobby start to fill up with about 5 minutes left of practice here from the dirt track at Charlotte. Brock Garris second right now. Jeremy Prey, your top man in practice. 15.752 top practice time. A little bit slower than the 410 sprint cars were at earlier. About 2 seconds slower if we're being exact here. Joshua Hart's quick up there as well. Mike Keegan is in the lobby. Your second place in points right now. I have not seen Kevin Hanley take to the track just yet in his number 110 machine.
Kevin Hanley has just connected to the lobby. So we will be seeing a little bit of Hanley here tonight, that's for certain. But if you've never really seen something like this, if you've never seen the big block modifieds at Charlotte, it's some of the best racing in real life when you go down there for the World Finals, and on iRacing it's nonetheless of that.
100% true there from Mr. Ben Bruno. Obviously, Ben's from up in the home of big block modified country, or just west of it over in the Pennsylvania area. Big block modifieds really popular in the New York area, also a little bit in Pennsylvania, and they're starting to trickle their way down into the southeast region, as we've seen them go as far as Florida to race. They raced a couple times in South Carolina, so big block modified starting to take over the southeast and assert their dominance here, as they are doing with the DOB big block modified series right here on the iRacing servers. A car that was released only about 5 months ago at this time, and since then it has turned the iRacing world on its head.
And it's one of those tracks that it's got so many grooves. If you've been sticking around, you watch the 410 sprint car race, you already have a dose of what we're going to see. Obviously a lot different here with the big block modified, but a track that has multiple grooves of racing and different ways that you can cross over the grooves even once it starts to get slick. And it's for a driver, it's one of the most fun tracks to race at, and as a spectator in real life or on iRacing, it's always a really great show.
As always, we're hoping for an insane showing from however many drivers that we have take to the track here tonight. So far, about 14, or make it 13, have signed in to race at the dirt track at Charlotte with the big block modified series presented by ESBN. So I do just want to talk about it once again real quick here. A 10-point advantage for Kevin Hanley coming into the night. If Keegan were able to pull off a win here and Hanley finishes 5th on back, I do believe 4th on back, I do believe that Keegan would steal the points championship. So Hanley is going to have to be on his A game here if he wants to secure it with the Dirty Old Bastards here tonight.
And Hanley right now has jumped up to second quickest in practice with a 15.718. Brock Garris currently the fastest with 7.00. So, Mike Keegan sitting back there right now to 16.008. Not sure if he's not really turned a whole good lap yet, or if he's a little bit off pace. So, going to be interesting moving into the heat races. Starting position for these two is going to be so important.
Could be one of many factors there for the X machine of Keegan, as he's currently only run a 16 flat lap time compared to everybody else's 15.9s, 15.8s, 15.7s. The only other two that haven't taken times are Jake Greenwood and Aaron Schaefer here, as we come into about a minute and a half until we go into qualifying here from the dirt track at Charlotte for the final time on a Thursday night for the DOB 410 Sprint, well, the Big Block Modified, as you saw the final race for the 410 Sprint Car Series earlier tonight.
And it was a good one. If you missed it, make sure that you go back and check it out. It was quite the dash as Chris Roberts shot out of a cannon late in that one to find his way on the podium, and a really strong finish to his season in the 410 Sprint Cars. And he's going to look to carry over that momentum to the Big Block Modifieds here tonight. If you haven't yet, make sure that you stop by our pages on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. Hit the follow button, hit the notifications bell, and never miss any of the ESBN action.
As always, as well, check out some of our sponsors, diecastnuts.com, where you can post your diecast collections, trade with other collectors. You can buy and sell as well. So check out diecastnuts.com on Facebook and at their website, diecastnuts.com, as well as one of our proud sponsoring partners in Rocket Racing Setups, who are continuing to be one of the best setup builders on the entire iRacing platforms. They got anything you can want, from fuel sheets, tuning guides, setups, much more as well over at rocketracingsetups.com. And as I say that, we are going to jump right into qualifying here for the Big Block Modified Series presented by ESBN.
And if you're tuning in, let us know where you're watching from. Who are you rooting for? Who's going to come away with the Big Block Modified Championship? Will it be Hanley? Will it be Keegan? Who's going to win? Where you watching from? Let us know.
That is exactly right. As from here on, after tonight, we're also going to be looking for some more dirt racing to produce, as we are looking at a few different series to bring in. So if you're only here for the dirt racing, don't go anywhere. We will be bringing you more content as time goes on. But now we're starting to see those lap times come in. Jeremy Prey up top early at a 15.775.
There's more and more laps coming in. Kevin Hanley right now third quick at a 15.791. Chris Roberts sitting fourth, 15.915. So a lot of these guys, Detweiler now sitting second quick with a 15.777 on his first lap as he comes out of turn number 4 for his second time. Can he better it? He will not. His second lap, a 15.987.
So you've got, Keegan goes fifth quick right now with a 15.885. He's one position below his counterpart in the championship battle of Kevin Hanley. So Hanley and Keegan need to continue to battle throughout the night. Keegan, second lap a little bit closer here, as we are getting very close to going into heat races here, as Jake Greenwood takes to the track to try and get a lap time in. Just barely does so, but it's not too quick at a 16.087. So heat race number 1 will now be taking to the track with Jeremy Prey and Brock Garris on your front row, Mike Keegan, Joshua Piquel, row number 2, Craig Laudermilch, Aaron Schaefer, row number 3, Russell Berry, all by himself back on row number 4.
Like I was saying, during the practice warm-up there, between Keegan and Hanley, starting position is going to be pretty important, as just a couple of guys gonna separate who's gonna get the points championship for the Big Block Modifieds, and it's gonna be an absolute thriller in the action-packed dirt track at Charlotte.
Oh, that's exactly right. I mean, I myself cannot wait to venture over to the dirt track at Charlotte. this July for a co-sanctioned event by the Steel Block Bandits and the Topless Outlaws, a limited late model series. Then I have a driver participating in who sponsors my own brand that I won't name because it's not a sponsor of the Esports Broadcasting Network. But I will be at the Dirt Track Charlotte in July and then again in October through November when they host the Dirt Track World Championship and the World Finals. So a lot of Charlotte racing in my book in the future, and it all gets kickstarted here tonight with the Big Block Modified Series of the DOB, or the Dirty Old Bastards, presented by ESBN, as we are going to go green next time. Bye here, Ben. Take the reins, take the call, send us green for heat race number 1.
And to start our last first heat race of the season for the Dirty Old Bastards Big Block Modifieds, the 117 of Jeremy Prey, the 64 of Brock Garris. It's going to be a fight to the loud pedal first. Prey hits it. He gets a good jump heading down into turn number 1.
Well, here's a big shot for Keegan as he pulls up alongside Garris there. Keegan is going to want to get up to the backside. Ooh, Garris, big shot from Piquel. That lets the 11 machine there of, I believe, that's not an 11, that's the 711. That's Craig Laudermilch there fighting with the 33 of Piquel. 64 of Garris now pulls into third. Keegan, a good run so far. He's up in second. Garris is just as fast, however, as he pulls up back in behind him here out of turn number 4 and down the front straightaway into lap number 3. It's still the 117 Jeremy Prey out front, but we've got a battle brewing for second.
And Aaron Schaefer a little bit off pace down the backstretch. And there was another car, I didn't quite catch who it was, but that's going to give that 5th spot to Craig Laudermilch. Joshua Piquel in 4th, and Brock Garris now battling back to the inside of Mike Keegan as they're going to go door to door coming out of turn number 4.
Well, here's the thing. For the points battle, Keegan needs this spot. He's going to hug Garris down to the bottom of the racetrack out of turn number 2, keeping Garris as low as possible. Garris wants a slide job here. You can tell it by the way he's driving the car into the corner. Wasn't able to get one. That halted all momentum. So Keegan holds the outside still. But here comes Garris. Going to fight back. Sees that Keegan's right there on his outside. Can't throw a slide job. So he's going to stay to the bottom. It's been happening lap after lap here. That bottom side, however, is working wonders for Brock Garris as he's still just not quite able. Ooh, there he goes. Clears him that time. But Keegan's going to fight back on the outside once again. There is no quit in that driver number X.
Absolutely not. As you alluded to, this position so important as they come into the white flag lap. A little bit of contact going into turn 1. Brock Garris still going to be able to stay out front of Mike Keegan. Joshua Pickle.
Well, it was Jeremy Prey winning there. Pickle, as Ben stated, come home 4th. 64 of Garris, 2nd. X of Keegan came home 3rd. And then you had, rounding out heat race number 1, Craig Laudermilch in 5th. Aaron Schaefer 6th. Russell Berry all the way back there in the 7th position. Now we bring out heat race number 2. As my mouse has gone all over the place. There it was. We came back with it. Heat race number 2 will line up as follows. Darren Detweiler up there in the 3D machine will start on the pole with Kevin Hanley right behind him in 2nd. Row number 2, Chris Roberts, Jeff Sharp. Row number 3, Jake Greenwood, Joshua Hart, and that is your field on the track.
My apologies, a little bit of a connection issue there for a minute, cut out right in the middle of what I was saying there, but another really good heat race lined up here as we watch ever so closely to that battle between Hanley and Keegan for the points championship for the Big Block Modifieds. This starting position is really going to matter as Hanley going to be in a good spot starting this one on the outside, going to have the advantage of a little bit of momentum, see what Detweiler decides to do and what section of track he's going to use.
That is exactly right. Remember, top 3 out of this race will go into the DOB redraw here. Darren Detweiler, Kevin Hanley, Chris Roberts. Your top 3 currently. Let's see if it'll stay that way throughout this entire ordeal here as we're going to fire off of turn number 4. Looks like only 5 cars made the call here. Detweiler fires first. Hanley fires second. Here we go into turn number 1. Roberts quick down to the bottom here as we come down the back straightaway for the first time.
And a great jump for Roberts on that start. As you alluded to in the 410s, the catfish, the bottom side hustler, if you will. I know that it doesn't quite go that way as we see Hanley now pull into the door of Detweiler. Turn number 3 slide job from Hanley right up in front of the 3 of Detweiler as he's going to take over the race lead.
That's exactly right. Kevin Hanley to the race lead. Detweiler second. This does a lot for the points battle between him and Keegan right now. Hanley trying to maintain his points lead and take a victory here tonight. That would all but seal the deal here. Detweiler, although, is fighting back on the inside here. Roberts in third. Those last 2 men back there fighting all by themselves. The 58 of Joshua Hart, the 28 of Jeff Sharp. Back there in no man's land, as we say, but they are still battling hard for the 4th position.
And Kevin Hanley now able to gain a little bit of a lead. Detweiler just trying to pick away at the top, use that momentum to his advantage. As he tries to close in, the gap does not grow at all for Hanley.
No, it does not. As Hanley still got about 4 car lengths on Detweiler, and it's another, say, 10 or so back to Chris Roberts here, as Roberts now starts to have his hands full with the number 58 machine of Hart, as Hart ducks down to the inside of Roberts.
Kevin Hanley going to take the white flag down the backstretch for the 110 of Hanley for the last time in heat race number 2. He's going to pick up the win for the 2nd heat race and going to help him out in a big way in the battle with Mike Keegan for the championship.
That it is, as we're going to get into a warm-up here. They're going to do a quick redraw of the top 6. No dash here for the big block modifieds, but we will redraw the top 6. And then they will come out, get a couple of warm-up laps, and we will go straight into the main event on the night. Jeremy Prey draws a number 4. Kevin Hanley draws a 2nd.
Yes.
Brock Garris draws a 3. See, ladies and gentlemen, this is the only confusing part for us broadcasters whenever we broadcast the DOB 410 Sprint Car Series and the Big Block Modified Series, but it does make the racing that much more interesting as they are currently getting... Mike Keegan chooses the number 2 for Rusty, and he draws the number 6. So unlucky there for Mike Keegan. But like I was saying, the only confusing part about broadcasting DOB is the redraw, but it makes the racing a lot more interesting. So we have grown to love it here up in the booth.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of credit to Chris Roberts, man. What a job that he does managing all of these series that he runs. As I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we may be picking up a couple more of the Dirty Old Bastards leagues moving forward. So this high caliber racing, we're only going to have more and more of it here at ESPN, and it's all due to the dedication of Chris Roberts and everything that he does to make this happen, down to the format to give us this interesting racing every night, man. It's something else that he does.
100%. Chris does an extremely well job, or extremely good job, I should say, if I want to be correct. Chris does an extremely good job with promoting, running, and racing in leagues all at the same time. And tonight, one of those examples is we've seen a tremendous showing by earlier the 410 Sprint Car Series and now the Big Block Modifieds, as we've had two very, very good heat races. And we are going to get into the final race of the season for the Dirty Old Bastards, as we'll go 50 laps from the dirt track at Charlotte following this warm-up session.
And these guys are going to work the track in a little bit more here. You can see the cushion quite a bit down from the wall right now. And a little bit of rubber starting to come into play coming in. But other than that, not a whole lot of rubber down on the track at this point, besides coming in to turn 1 and coming into turn 3. It's gonna get really racy really quick, as there's still a good bit of life left in the bottom. So I think that we'll see some marbles get kicked up in the middle again if the bottom gets dominant.
We'll 100% see some marbles. And again, if people aren't too sure out there what the term marbles means when it comes to dirt racing, it's really just clumps of dirt kicked up by tires that form what we do call marbles. And when you get into marbles, your tires aren't allowed to make as much traction as if they were meeting the solid dirt underneath, and that will kick a car loose as fast as possible. But oftentimes, if you're super late model racing or something of the sort, you'll get up there, you'll blow off the marbles for maybe 1 or 2 laps, and then the top side works like an absolute charm. And that's kind of what we're seeing these drivers preparing for here tonight, as they work in the top side of the racetrack and get ready to hopefully use it as we move forward for 50 laps.
And right now, only one person in the sub 16 range, Jeremy Prey, at a 15.965 in the warm-up. I would expect that at this point we're probably working a little bit slower than some of these quicker times that we're seeing in the warm-up. A lot of people in the low 16s, one of the highers being 16.2 and 16.4. I'd say we're probably around the 16.2, 16.3 kind of pace right now, unless you got the rabbit in your hat and we're waiting for that setup change for a little bit slicker track.
Well, if you'll remember last week with this series, you had Mason Hannigan making an appearance and winning at the USA International Speedway. Mason did not make the call here tonight, so that turns it over to the rest of the guys. The top finishing DOB regular was Jake Greenwood. He finished second. Joshua Piquel pulled home a third-place finish, and Hanley came home fourth and extended his points advantage over Mike Keegan, because Keegan only came home in the 13th position. So a lot of good and a lot of bad runs there for certain guys last weekend at the USA International Speedway, and it all culminates here tonight with 50 laps at the Charlotte dirt track from just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, here in Concord, with no fast repairs on the card. I believe they don't clear black flag, so a perfectly run setup here for Mr. Chris Roberts, and we are about to see the final event of the season. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle in, strap in, get your drinks, get your popcorn, get whatever you need to have a good old time with us here for 50 laps. Pick your driver and keep your eyes on the racing action here as we bring up your starting lineup for the night. Again, your top 6 is going to be pretty shaken up here, but the way it was before the redraw, you had Jeremy Prey on the pole, Kevin Hanley in second. I believe that they are now getting into that lineup, so we won't have to wait any longer to see who lines up where. This is going to be, I believe, Darren Detweiler now on the pole here with the 110 of Hanley to his outside. Brock Garris lines up third, Jeremy Prey fourth, Chris Roberts fifth, the ex of Mike Keegan in sixth, and then you go back to Joshua Piquel in seventh, Joshua Hart in eighth, Craig Laudermilch in ninth, Jeff Sharp rounds out your top 10, with Aaron Schaefer, Jake Greenwood, and Russell Berry making up the rest of your 13 drivers who made the call here tonight.
And it's going to be quite the battle to watch here as Hanley having a little bit of the upper hand on Keegan right now, starting off pole.
Well, Hanley is actually rolling off second. Darren Detweiler chose the outside here. I've never seen it done where you get an outside option before the green flag even flies, but Darren Detweiler will lead the field to the green on the outside here, hoping that it works from the dirt track at Charlotte, as we'll come across to get one to go to green this time by.
And like I said, don't count out some of these other guys. You know, Jeremy Prey was really fast in the warm-up. I mean, a lot of guys carrying a lot of speed through practice, through the heat race, into the warm-up. Ryan, why don't you take us to green for the last time with the big blocks?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, 12 weeks of racing action, and it all culminates here tonight with the DOB Big Block Modified Series. It's showtime from Charlotte. Detweiler on the loud pedal and into turn number 1.
All smooth sailing as that second spot. A lot of heat. Garris, Jeremy Prey, Kevin Hanley shaking it up as Prey going to take to the top side. Garris to the bottom, followed by Mike Keegan and Chris Roberts, per as usual, feeding off the bottom.
50 laps here and some amazing drivers to do those 50 laps. Prey, Garris in a battle for third. Keegan back there all by his lonesome in fifth. Then you got Piquel Roberts battling for the 6th position back there. But now we've got Hanley inching closer and closer to Detweiler. Up there in the 3D, going to try and take away the race lead from him and establish even more dominance in a big block modified. Your top 4 only separated by about 10 car lengths here.
I was just about to say throw a blanket over them. It's anybody's race with almost 5 laps down, as Hanley now taking a look to the inside of Detweiler, heading down into turn 1. He's got a good run on the bottom, sliding up. No, Detweiler too much momentum on the top.
Good job to catch the slide job there by Kevin Hanley and not run it all up into the side of Darren Detweiler, old double D up there in the 3D. Hanley this time, he might have the reins. He pulls her tight, pulls right up in front of Detweiler. Detweiler back down to the bottom here. This is where Charlotte gets oh so fun. Detweiler slide job right up in front of Hanley. Hanley back to the bottom. Opens the door for Garris. Down the front straight away they go. We've got a battle back there for about the 5th position, but all eyes on the front here. Detweiler back to the bottom. Garris making his way towards your top 2 here. Detweiler sticks to the bottom. Slide job out of Detweiler right up in front of Hanley. Hanley back down to the bottom. We're having so much fun at the front as we head into lap number 9.
Playing hide and seek with the U-tire on that one, Ryan. A really aggressive move to slide up as he's going to look to do the same thing again in turn 3 and 4. Gathers it up pretty well this time, able to hold off Hanley to the bottom. Hanley still poking his nose down on the bottom. He's got a good run off of turn number 2 as these guys go side by side. Brock Harris absolutely salivating as he's now in this battle for first. 3 cars, 1 spot. Who's going to take it?
Oh, right now we call Brock Garris the bridesmaid to the battle at the top of the leaderboard here. Hanley able to clear Detweiler down the back straight away. Detweiler back down to the bottom. There's still plenty of moisture on the bottom side of the racetrack to make that thing work. But here comes Garris now. He's going to make his move. Goes to the inside of Detweiler. Big battle behind him between Piquel and Prey in the 117. Garris looks, but hogs the bottom here, trying to maintain a run into turn number 1. Hanley has stretched his lead out to about 6 car lengths as Garris continues to work down Detweiler. Big slide job out of Piquel for the 4th position here. Clears Prey, but Prey back down to the bottom and around him down the back straight away. Opens the door for Jake Greenwood here as he looks to slide up in front of the 33 of Piquel back there battling for position. Up back at the front, it's Prey, it's Detweiler for second. We're neck and neck down the back straightaway here as Hanley continues to lead into turn number 3.
And Mike Keegan taking notes off of these guys on where the speed is at. You can see he's tossed his hat in this ring as these guys are nearly 4 wide. And Keegan, big move underneath of Jake Greenwood right to the door of Piquel, and a little bit of contact in the backstretch between the two of them. Brock Garrett now taking a look at Detweiler going into turn 1.
Just about to say that. We're also looking at contact at the back. Greenwood into Keegan. That almost flips Keegan, but we've got a caution here. And unfortunately for his points championship run, it's Mike Keegan being one of the men involved here as he got in contact with Jake Greenwood. As you are seeing on the ESBN replay here, we got 16 laps in the books, so working down very, very nicely towards that goal of 50, but Mike Keegan's going to have to do this the hard way if he wants a points championship here tonight.
And like I said, you can see those marbles coming into play. Greenwood going to take the EOL as cause of the caution, but as I was saying, a lot of marbles getting kicked up in the middle. Like you said, 2 very distinctive lines, one on the bottom, one on the top. And it's going to make things interesting as those marbles get kicked up. It almost forms a small little mini cushion to the bottom that these guys can just plant that right rear on and go.
That is exactly right here. 58 machine is back in the race. Looks like Hanley might choose the outside here. Let's see what he does. There he goes. Hanley to the outside here for the restart, as he will have Detweiler in second to his inside third place, Brock Garris. Fourth place, Jeremy Prey. Rounding out your top 5 right now is Joshua Piquel. And the number 33 is we're going 1 to go to green here as the iRacing Chevy Silverado base truck, the official base truck of iRacing, dips off of the back straightaway. And now Hanley has anywhere from the Charlotte logo in turn number 3 to fire all the way to the front straightaway. Let's see where he does it. We're going to bring the show right back to you live here. Green flag flies at Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Big Block Modifieds.
And Darren Detweiler right on the door of the 110 of Keegan. And these guys towards the back, Greenwood, the 58 of Hart, making a little bit of contact as they go 3 wide through turn 4.
Detweiler wasting no time getting back to work on the 110, and neither is the 64 of Garrett. Ooh, 93, Chris Roberts. Big contact there. Let's see exactly what happened to Chris as the yellow flag flies here. Let's see, Chris Roberts down there absolutely ate a Ute tire for lunch. Had Sunday brunch down there with the big white powder donuts. And he comes to a rest in turn number 2. And off he goes. Roberts going to luckily be able to catch up to the rear end of the field here. And we're not going to waste too much time getting back to green.
And Hanley able to hold off Detweiler, as you were alluding to right before that caution, taking a look. So a lot of speed for Detweiler here tonight at Charlotte, as Kevin's been stiff, but Jeremy Prey and Brock Harris, like I talked about, 2 of the quicker guys in the warm-up, aren't going anywhere. And obviously, as you look back through the field, through our green flag runs thus far, these guys just absolutely duking it out. If anybody makes a real big mistake, this could be, you know, somebody in the second or third row's race just like that.
Oh, 100% true there, but we're going to get 1 to green. This time by your leader continues to be Hanley up there in the number 110. He's well on his way to a points championship, choosing the outside once again if he can stay out in front of Mike Keegan, who's sitting back in about to the 8th or the 10th position here, as he is outside row number 5. So Hanley going to have the choice to fire at the Charlotte logo in turn number 3 all the way to the front straightaway wall. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Buckle down. 18 laps in the books, a little over 30 to go here. Green flag flies once again at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Kevin Hanley starting on the top, going to continue to use the top as Detweiler and Prey now file in behind him. Brock Garris married to the bottom. Piquel going to follow Prey and Detweiler to the top as those guys are absolutely beating the wall down coming to the flag stand.
100%. Garris wasting no time getting back to work on Detweiler. Prey had him for a second. Garris got right back around, and now Prey falls into the clutches of the 33 of Joshua Piquel. It's all the one set of Hanley out front, though, as Detweiler's not able to make up any kind of a run so far as we work into lap number 21 here, with Hanley leading Detweiler, and it's still Garris and now Piquel getting around the 117 of Prey.
And a little bit of contact in the back of the field, shuffling things up. Chris Roberts able to take big advantage of that and get around 2 more cars to get to, I believe, 10th, if I'm not mistaken. But right now, all Kevin Hanley is Detweiler. Maybe catches a little bit of the wall. Car got tight coming off of turn 4.
Well, now it's going to take a lot out of Detweiler to try and catch up to the back of Kevin Hanley here, as he's starting to just lose him ever so slightly every lap. Hanley stretching out that lead a little bit. You don't look now. Joshua Piquel making a run at Double D. Darren Detweiler got around Brock Garrison, the 64. He's up to 3rd, and he's hard charging towards the front here. And it's still Garris. Oh, Piquel is good. It's a caution for Chris Roberts and Joshua Hart here on lap number 24. So just about halfway down in this 50-lap A main. Let's see exactly what happened here. Roberts got into the corner a little bit sideways. Hart just wasn't able to hit the binder soon enough. Got into the back of Chris Roberts, and around went the 93 and the 58 machines.
And Mike Keegan now starting to charge his way back through the field after getting caught up in that, I believe it was around lap 14 caution. Now back up to 5th. So he's moving in the right direction. But you got to figure at this point, unless there's a real problem for Kevin Hanley, that it's going to be tough for Keegan to get the job done.
I will say, unless motor go boom, it looks like Kevin Hanley might have this one wrapped up, but we cannot talk too soon here. I don't want to put the announcer's curse on anybody, especially Hanley, who's looking for a points championship, and he's trying to fend off that man who currently sits back in the 5th position. That is Mike Keegan in the X machine with Jeremy Prey to his outside. Old Darren Detweiler's going to give it his best crack here as we head down the back straightaway and watch the iRacing pace truck duck down into the pit road here at the beautiful dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, coming to the halfway mark this time to get the green flag.
The 110 of Kevin Hanley going to get a nice jump. But Detweiler, a really great start, taking a look to the inside, slides up the racetrack. Very respectful of Kevin Hanley as Piquel, and it looks like Keegan now battling to the inside of Piquel as things are getting very interesting off this restart.
That's exactly right. Keegan at least trying to get up to a podium spot so far. Might have on a bit of a late race setup here for the driver of the X machine, as he is battling back there with Brock Garris right now for the 4th position. Piquel now working down the 3D of Detweiler for 2nd. Hanley dominantly out front of these guys by about 4 or 5 car lengths here. Piquel nosing inside of the 3D of Detweiler. We may see a slide job come out of this very, very soon, but for the time being, Piquel falls back in line as we work into lap number 29 next time by.
And Brock Garris now battling to the inside of Mike Keegan as we're seeing those 2 lines begin to form back up again. A very dominant line to the bottom, a lot of momentum to the top. If you can't get off of the bottom, it's a little bit slicker trying to get off of there. But if you have it just right, you can get a lot of speed. As we see Piquel closing in on Detweiler. And as you mentioned, Hanley about 4 to 6 car lengths at about 0.6 of a second lead currently.
That is exactly right. Here's we've still got a battle for second. Piquel now to the bottom side. Detweiler made a bit of a mistake there in second. Piquel not going to slide up on him. Just going to continue to work the bottom here. Doesn't want to waste any big moves here this early on in the race. We've still got exactly 20 laps to go next time by at the line. Back there behind him, Keegan still has his hands full for the 4th position with Brock Garris right in behind him. And then next man back is Craig Loudermilch, Jeremy Prey, Jeff Sharp, Russell Berry, Joshua Hart round out your top 10 as we work into lap number 33. Just over halfway, or just under 20 laps to go here from the dirt track at Charlotte for the final time this season with the Big Block Modified Series of the Dirty Old Bastards.
In the battle to watch still between the 3D of Detweiler and the 33 of Joshua Piquel, as those two have been going at it. Now a little bit of an advantage for Detweiler. Piquel going to take a big move to the middle of the track, see if he can make it stick. He's got a great run. It's going to be a drag race.
Well, he made it stick because Detweiler was all up in the outside wall that last time through 3 and 4. This time through 1 and 2 does it a lot better here as we're in lap number 35 here. Oh, Piquel this time is in the wall. So is Detweiler. Both these drivers aren't able to keep it up off of the concrete stuff as they are continuing to ride the berm here, following in the footsteps of Hanley, who is still about now 8 to 9 car lengths in front of your battle for second. Piquel continuously charging in. Ooh, almost contact there for the next battle back. That's Keegan still fighting with Garris. Keegan is able to gain about a car length and a half over Garris here and pull away just slightly, but Garris still fighting hard to try and take back the 4th position and almost does so, but he falls back in line here as we work into lap number 38. Ladies and gentlemen, almost at the 10 to go mark.
And it's all Kevin Hanley, almost to his second lead now. The better of 8 cars, 10 car length distance between them as these guys chip back into it a little bit. 0.8 of a second to Detweiler, and Piquel still trying to push on Detweiler as he finds the wall a little bit in turn 3. That's going to be a problem. Mike Keegan and Brock Garris absolutely in a bare knuckle brawl back there for that 4th spot.
2 drivers about to go a lap down. The race control team for the DOB series, that's Chris Roberts and Aaron Schaefer. They're the 93 and the 77. 93 obviously has a little bit of damage, so that car's not quite up to par. Aaron Schaefer out there cutting some laps as well. They're both about to go a lap down to the 110 of Hanley, and that could open the door for Double D Darren Detweiler, as well as Joshua Piquel, depending on how easily the 110 is able to get by both of these lap cars. Pulls up alongside the 77 down the back straightaway and right around him, and he's going to have to get around the 93 of Roberts before he is all set and clear. And here comes Detweiler inching closer here as we work into lap number 42 of 50.
And it's getting interesting. 0.8 to a half a second, and now closing in is Detweiler. Big move going into turn number 3. He's going to slide up to the top side of the track as Hanley just now able to get around the lap traffic. Detweiler has closed in with just 7 laps to go in this one. Is Detweiler in the wall now in turns 3 and 4, going to give Hanley the advantage?
Detweiler was hard into the wall there. Piquel still a few car lengths back, as well as now they both obviously cleared Chris Roberts, and it's a 2-man battle at the front here. Detweiler pulling out all the moves here late. Less exactly 5 laps to go this time by, ladies and gentlemen. Five fingers in the air from the flagman here. Detweiler going to have to start pulling out all the stops as these two start working back towards the middle of the track. Joshua Piquel is still looming in the shadows as well. Lap 47 here from the dirt track at Charlotte. This is going to give Detweiler a big run down the back straightaway as Hanley chose the bottom line here. Let's see what happens. Detweiler seems to be a little bit faster this lap. He's going to have a run down the front straightaway again. We're going to see a no-holds-bar finish here as we work into lap number 48.
And he's giving it everything that it's worth, pushing that car to its bitter limit as Hanley going to see that mirror and slide up the racetrack in front of Detweiler. He's able to hold on here, less than a car length separating these guys. You could fit a piece of paper between them at this point, as Detweiler just looking for one mistake from Hanley.
2 laps to go this time. A slide job out of Darren Detweiler. Clears the 110, but the 110 clears him right back down the back straightaway here. Detweiler going to have to recharge on the outside. He's going to have one final attempt here as we come to the white flag for the ESBN Big Block Modified Series for the Dirty Old Bastards. Oh my lord, ladies and gentlemen, Hanley looks to cap off a points championship with a win here at the dirt track at Charlotte. Runs the blocker line to make sure it's a thing. Detweiler into the inside tires. That means that Kevin Hanley wins not only the points championship, but the final night here at the dirt track at Charlotte, with Darren Detweiler an amazing run coming home second, Joshua Piquel third, Brock Garris fourth, Mike Keegan coming home a little bit short in fifth, Craig Laudermilch sixth, Jeff Sharp seventh, Jeremy Prey eighth, Russell Berry ninth, Joshua Hart 10th, Chris Roberts, Aaron Schaefer, Jake Greenwood did not finish. So that was your 13 cars for an amazing last race here for season number 1 of the Dirty Old Bastards Big Block Modified Series presented by ESBN. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed that, and you are going to enjoy here momentarily interviews with your top 3, including your winner tonight, your points champion for the first season, Mr. Kevin Hanley. Speaking of the devil coming in here, joining us up in the booth here. Oh, that's not exactly what I wanted, but we'll talk to him first. Joshua Piquel, a third place finish here tonight. It looked like at the very end there that you may have had a run on Detweiler as he hit the inside tire, but just unfortunately not able to catch him right at the end. But again, another solid third place finish for you. That's 2 podiums in a row.
Yeah, all in all, it was a good run tonight. I was just trying new stuff towards the end to catch Darren and Kevin, and I just found it too late.
Well, all in all, I mean, you still had a good run. You started mid-pack, had some amazing battles there throughout that entire race. The setup finally towards the end, as you stated, it seemed like it took about 15 to 20 laps for your setup to actually come into play there. Is that something that you wanted coming into this race, or did that just kind of end up happening?
Yeah, I set it up for a slicker track around the top, but it really just never got right up around the wall tonight in 3 and 4. 1 and 2 was great, but yeah, I just couldn't find it in 3 and 4.
Well, either way, it finally ended up coming in. You come home with the third place finish here tonight. Moving forward for you as a driver in your sim racing career, so to speak, what's the next step for you, and what are some of your plans going forward?
I'll probably just do the same thing I did this year. Run with the DOB guys, the sprint cars, and then these mods. Couple other leagues. Other than that, yeah, just stay the same and try to improve on this year.
Well, very well, and we look to you having another great season next time around with both the sprint cars and the Big Block Modifieds. Before we let you go here tonight, who do you want to thank on the race car?
Yeah, I gotta thank all the guys over at Most Wanted Motorsports for all the help they've given me this year, and Detweiler Designs for the car, the awesome looking paint on it. Methanol Mafia Productions, Design Metal Art, Chris Robert for putting on this league, and you guys over for broadcasting it.
Right. Well, Joshua, once again, congratulations on 2 podiums in a row, and we'll hopefully see you at the start of next season.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Ryan.
Yes, sir. And next, we'll send it right back down trackside. As speaking of Detweiler Designs, we have Mr. Ben Bruno standing alongside the man himself, your second place finisher tonight, Mr. Darren Detweiler.
Darren, an absolute thriller for all 50 laps between you and Kevin. Take us through what it looked like from the driver's seat.
Oh, that was a lot of fun. That was one of those at the beginning of the race. I knew I was going to be a little off the pace. I decided on a different gear and figured, okay, I'll be there late. And I was just hoping the track was going to get to where it got at the very end. because I knew I was going to be fast at the end. And when I started to reel in Hanley toward the last 10, 15 laps, it's like, okay, I got a shot here. Make the most of it. And hey, Kevin just did a hell of a job. Uh, Without a doubt, my hat's off to him. And I got to say, congratulations to him on the championship. He ran a hell of a race.
Yeah, the both of you putting on an absolute show, man. You know, so coming back from almost a second deficit to him and being able to battle like that, as we see you throw a big slider, I think it was with 2 to go or 3 to go. Take us through that and what you were thinking when all that was happening.
Well, I kept hoping for 3 and 4, the slider line we were working to go away. That's why I'd stayed up top and kind of let him escape through the first part of the race. I knew he was going to get away anyway. So I kept trying to work that line into 3 and 4 and maybe get a bit of a ridge built up there that I could get the car to push off of going into 3. And there in the second half of the race, I just had to follow him on the slider line. So that eliminated doing anything in 3 and 4. And I knew we were running out of laps, so I figured I would try something, throw a haymaker at him and just see if I could get him to flinch, spin the tires, just make a mistake of some kind. And he came right back at me with a beautiful crossover. And at that point, I was just kind of settling in to run behind him and uh, decided one of those teammate hollered at me, try the bottom in 3 and 4 on the last lap. Tried to go down there, caught the tractor tire, and about flipped the car over trying to do it. But hey, it was just fun race.
Well, you were certainly giving it all that that car was worth for those last 10 or 15 laps there. Really good showing for you here in the inaugural season with the DOB Big Block Modifieds. Who do you have to thank for putting on these for wow, blanking on the word but these really good showings for you. Who's getting the job done for you?
I just gotta give a huge shout out to my team, Most Wanted Motorsports, and a huge shout out to Josh Backel. He was the one that kind of spearheaded us starting to figure out setups, and Craig Loudermilch was right along on figuring out those setups with him. Those guys did a hell of a job giving us a competitive car. And obviously, got to give a shout out to my sponsors, Detweiler Designs, Design Metal Art, Methanol Mafia Productions, Jessup Logistics. Got to give a shout out to you guys over at ESBN. The broadcast quality is awesome, and it's fun to go back and watch these races after the fact. And give a huge shout out to Chris Roberts for the league. It's a blast to run here, and I look forward to each season. And once again, huge congratulations to Hanley pulling off the victory tonight and the championship.
And congratulations to you on a great finish here tonight and a really strong showing, as I said, in the inaugural season for the Big Block Mods.
I appreciate it.
All right, that was a word down trackside with your second place finisher, Mr. Darren Detweiler, and now the man of the entire hour. Not only was he in a tremendous points battle coming into tonight, he put up a dominant showing and won that championship and brought it home in spectacular fashion, Mr. Kevin Hanley. Kevin, take me through some of your thoughts right now. You've got to be on cloud 9.
Yeah, that was a crazy race. It was about 20 laps too long. I was having some anxiety there towards the end. Darren was in my mirror the whole time. And, I was just running that slider line for 3 and 4. And I thought that was going to go away after about 15, 20 laps. But, I don't know. No one else must have been running it. It stayed there most of the race, right there up until the end. So, yeah, it worked out.
Oh, it 100% worked out for you in the biggest way here. You had about a second and a half advantage there for about 15 to 20 laps in the race, and then a little bit of lap traffic got involved, and that opened the door right back up for Darren. Was there anything that you thought that you could have done better working that lap traffic, or is that the way that you think that it would have played out either way?
I mean, I don't think there was much I could have done different. I think I got the first car clean, and then the second car was pretty much took my line away in 3 and 4, forced me to try the bottom, and I lost a lot of momentum. Had to throw a really big slider to get ahead of him, and I think that's where Darren made all the time up. But it was either that or just ride behind him. So he was going to catch me one way or the other.
That he was, but you pulled off some spectacular driving to not only take home a win here tonight at the dirt track at Charlotte, but also a points championship with the DOB Big Block Modified Series, the first and inaugural season. Going forward, is this a series that you plan on running next season? And what else is your sim racing career looking like?
As long as Chris keeps running this series, I'll be running the big blocks. I try to support all their series with the DOB whenever I can. I can't always run for points, but I try to make it out as often as I can.
Well, you certainly made it out just enough times this year to pull home a season championship, something not many drivers can say they've ever done. And for you, obviously, having a pro license, being that guy to spearhead the big momentum that DOB is currently building, we want to say from all of us here at ESBN, and of course from Chris, who's sitting in the booth with us here right now, congratulations, Kevin. You 100% deserved the series championship this year.
Yeah, thank you. It means a lot. I've been trying to get one with these guys for a long time in a lot of different divisions, and finally got it. I wish I could have battled out with Mikey a little bit. I think he stole one or two of them away from me over the years, so feels good to come out on top for once.
Well, all in all, before we let you go here tonight, celebrate your points championship and your win, who else would you like to thank before we let you go?
I just got to thank Chris and everyone at DOB for putting on the league, putting on the races week in, week out. It's a lot of work, a lot of time, and there's not many people willing to do it. So thank you to Chris and everyone with him. And then thank you to the Esports Broadcasting Network for coming on board and putting on the broadcast. It means a lot.
100%. We enjoy doing it every single Thursday. So one more time from all of us, Kevin, we don't have any fireworks. We don't have any confetti, but I'm sure you can find a confetti cannon at Walmart and blow it up in your house and celebrate your points championship here tonight. Congratulations once again. And that'll wrap up a first season for the DOB Big Block Modifieds.
Thank you.
So with that now out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, we will move on to next season with the Big Block Modifieds. But for us here at ESPN, stay tuned right here tomorrow night, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series from the Daytona International Speedway. But for all of us here tonight, for Mr. Frank Marchese up in the broadcast tower, for Mr. Ben Bruno, who's been my trusty partner all season long, I have been Ryan Williams. This has been Season 14 and Season 1 of both the DOB 410 Sprint Car Series and the Big Block Modified Series, both finished here tonight from the dirt track at Charlotte. Be sure to go back and watch the VODs to see all of the amazing action that you may have missed. But for us, it's time to say goodbye and good night. We will see you very, very soon.